Hi everyone, welcome back. I was looking at A Course in Miracles and the idea that what you're looking for is within you. That, in other words, that nothing out here, right, really satisfies you anymore. When you've had enough disappointments, you know that this is true, right? Find another person, find another place or circumstance or possession, and you know it's not going to give you what you're looking for. Right? You're looking for happiness, for peace, for light, but when you think you can find it out there, you're always disappointed because it didn't give you what you were looking for. Huh? Because nothing out there can give you that because there's nothing out there. So, the whole spiritual transformation, your whole awakening is nothing but the realization that what you're looking for is within. And in order to access that, an undoing needs to take place. An undoing of all false thoughts and ideas that you now hold true. And this is the workbook of A Course in Miracles, where he first undoes, where you're first being undone in the way you think, and then you're being handed new ideas that replace your, if you will, false thinking. Because everything is thought, everything is an idea, and your thought system, or the thought system of the world, is the opposite of the thought system of A Course in Miracles. It tries to bring about that shift in thought, a shift in your thinking that allows what you are to resurface. It's an undoing, and very often in the early stages of awakening, its experience is very unsettling. And the way he expresses that so beautifully in A Course in Miracles, he says the emphasis now is on dislodging your mind from its fixed position. Right? It's fixed itself in a position of looking and thinking in a wrong manner, right? And as a result, you experience all the unhappiness that comes along with that, right? So the emphasis is on dislodging your mind, and once it's dislodged, it's very very uncomfortable because everything that you were familiar with now is gone, right? So instead, we're replacing that with a new light reference, if you will, right? You're being handed a new reference. The light reference is a trust in source, right? You're being asked to no longer trust in your own idea of yourself, but to trust in source, to step back and let it be revealed to you. Now, if you're really accustomed, and you are, right, to doing things your own way, right, to doing things your way, you know what's best for you, right, then that takes a moment of getting used to. This is often why A Course in Miracles is experienced as hard. But remember, that's just for a moment. Once you realize that stepping back and letting things unfold for you make things easier, not harder, then you understand that this is the way, right? That this is not your own plan, that the plan has been laid out for you to discover, right? For you to remember who you are. But it's not your plan. It's not going to be the way, it's not going to look the way you think it's going to look, if that makes any sense, right? So the greatest unsettling is often in the idea that you no longer can trust in your own strength. You're going to have to step back and trust in source. You're going to have to step back and trust in that correcting principle that's always with you. Once you'll give it over, once you hand back, you see, things change, things become effortless. Problems that you're having are falling away because you hand them over. You're no longer trying to solve them yourself. You're going like, wait, I don't know how to do this. Please help me with this. You learn to ask for help. You learn to ask for help continuously, huh? Because help is always given. Don't tell it what it's supposed to look like. Just ask for help and step back. For those of us who've learned to rely on that, we've seen there's a certain rest that comes with that, a certain light and rest factor that we weren't able to acquire when we trusted in our own strength. As a matter of fact, as he so beautifully expresses in our Course in Miracles, correct? Trusting your own strength is what causes fear. Because the thing that you're trusting in isn't real. Your self concept of self is not what you are. So you're desperately always trying to keep it together, right? Everyone in the world is trying to keep it together. I've only this and this and this, and I'm going to work hard and do this and this, and I'm going to have plans. And And it brings with it all this tension and fear. And instead of allowing yourself to just relax into the present moment, let things be exactly as they are, and let the plan unfold for you. Like I said, it takes a little getting used to, right? The initial steps are always the hardest. It's that giving over the reins to a higher power, giving over the reins to, again, that correcting principle that's always with you. But once you do, and once you learn to do that and learn to trust that light reference, things become really, really easy. And you'll notice, right, and many of us have, that the things that you thought brought you happiness no longer do, correct? And the things that now bring you happiness are simply effortless, are always available for you, right? Because they were within, right? It's that it's that absence of fear, right? The opposite of love is fear, but what is all encompassing has no opposite. Once you let go of the fear of trying to control everything and hold it together and telling this what it should be, instead of letting it show you what you are, then there is a relaxation, a love, a light that comes with it, that and rest that you've always been looking for, was always available to you. You just didn't know how to access it. It truly is just a reliance. It's stepping back. There are many, many lessons in our Course in Miracles that speak about this, right? I will step back and let Him lead the way. I choose the second place to gain the first, and you name it. Once you do that, you'll never ever go back to the way you were. Mhm. This is what you've always been looking for. And you thought it was in trying to make this the way you wanted it. It's not going to work because it is not real. It's not what you are. What you are is already whole and perfect. It's perfectly at rest. It's perfectly at peace. It's perfectly in light. It just needs to be revealed. We're always talking about an experience, isn't it? We're always talking about the experience of entering into the light, of entering into the portal, and entering into this new space and time in which what you are can be revealed to you. And certainly at this place and time, right, in space time, there's this acceleration of awakening going on that many and many of us are aware now. And it's hard to fight that because there's so much light that the moment you start fighting it, it becomes very fearful. And the moment you relax into the present moment, the fear just disappears, and there you are. It's effort. In that sense, it's effortless. It does not require effort. What requires effort is to keep this the way, to control this, to keep this the way you want it. That requires a lot of effort, which is always why you're tired, right? When you're trying to strive for something in this world, you're always tired. And you're tired because you're trying to bring something about that's not possible. You're fighting against what's true. You're fighting against how things are truly are, right? I love it how he says in the Course of Miracles, you're like in a continual temper tantrum in which you say, I want it thus, right? Instead of just accepting who you are. So happy resting today, right? Practice it, right? Practice it. Step back. Ask for help, right? There is this help available for you at any single moment. Another way he is beautifully expresses it is like in every situation, next to every situation stands a miracle, right? The miracle of shining light, and it's accessible to you because every situation is a lesson, right? A lesson in learning the same general lesson of who you are, right? Step back. Don't tell it what it should be. Let it show you what it is. Yeah? So have a great day today, wherever, whenever you are. Absolutely spectacular day, and I'll see you everywhere.